What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, for a film in the Fantastic Four that for a long time was planned to be the last film we'd get before we get to Avengers Doomsday, that's of course before the most recent delay, giving Spider-Man Brand New Day that brand new honor, Kevin Feige and co. and from the beginning seemed eager to stress the insular nature of putting the Fantastic Four in a separate timeline than the 616 to not be burdened with other superheroes or pre-existing continuity, and Matt Shakman, the director, seemed to double down on this sentiment when he made sure to say right at the beginning of the trailer drops 2 months ago in an interview that Dr. Doom was not in the film. As he said, he simply sucked up too much air in the room, and again they wanted to focus on the Fantastic Four and another villain like Galactus and not have to worry about putting Doom in the film. Now, the rumors about the post-credit scenes aside, we will issue a spoiler warning before we reference them later in this video. It seems like now Marvel Studios is starting to do what they always do as we approach the release date for a Marvel movie and start telling the public about the other extended features of what will be in this film and how it leads to the future. In this case, Marvel Studios did a presentation at Cineurope with Kevin Feige live on stage just yesterday and definitely teased the Avengers Doomsday of it all that we were expecting for, again, a film that was originally planned to be the last one we get before Doomsday gets released. We're breaking down the latest quotes from Kevin Feige about Avengers Doomsday and the Fantastic Four, and now given this reveal and some of the earlier quotes from last week, it certainly feels like we're going to get a much bigger inclusion of the multiverse as a whole and setup for Avengers Secret Wars. We're breaking it all down, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button, guys. We do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do. Thanks to everyone who's been subscribing lately, and if you haven't already, I would just kindly invite you to do so. Number one thing you can do to support us at the channel, plus it'll enter you for the giveaways if you want. Stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so just yesterday, Disney held a live presentation on stage over at Cineurope where they presented for a ton of upcoming features from multiple divisions over at Disney, including Marvel Studios, and it was one of those live presentations where they had Kevin Feige on stage. Now, they did show a brand new trailer with apparently new footage and what could be called a final trailer that no one had seen before at that presentation. Description, if one gets posted, forthcoming, but Kevin Feige then went on to say that the events of Fantastic Four will lead directly into Avengers Doomsday. That's a huge confirmation because as of right now, and according to the director, some of the plot leaks and people who have been to the test screenings, Dr. Doom is not in this film. Now, I will issue the lightest of spoiler warning right now if you haven't heard what the rumored post-credit scene was after the test screenings from 2 weeks ago, but people are saying we won't see Doom's face, simply that he will be standing in the living room holding his mask in one hand and an unconscious Franklin Richards in the other, and that Sue Storm will come back from the kitchen to the living room to find Doom standing there. Again, we won't see his face. That does not sound like the events of the film leading directly into Avengers Doomsday, and again, all the reactions to this, all the plot leaks, everything we know about the plot in Galactus, it clearly does not seem like they want it to be that type of multiversal film. Remember in the prologue I mentioned they put them on their own timeline so they didn't have to expressly deal with that. But not so fast, because in some of the official articles that came out at Empire and the such over the last couple of weeks, Marvel Studios officially said that this is a film that will explore how the multiverse works and how the different timelines interact with each other. You don't need expressly to have Doom in this movie to set up Avengers Doomsday. By essence of all of Reed Richards' sort of research and the science bro of it all, he's going to reveal a ton about what he's learning about the multiverse. And keep in mind, it's his distant relative in the future from where they are now, Nathaniel Richards, that will eventually become He Who Remains. Now, without getting bogged down too much into that part of the storyline or the fact that a lot of the tech that he has on his desk that's Mr. Fantastic definitely looks like the tech in the TVA, that's something for a separate video. We examined at the channel just weeks ago that Marvel Studios has pretty much set up black holes as the way that you go from one timeline, one part of the multiverse, to the next dimension in the multiverse. We saw America Chavez do it a different way, but she's one of a kind across the multiverse. We've seen it in the Marvels, we saw it pretty clearly at the end of Loki Season 1, and from the leaked description of some footage that was shown this year at a con already, we know that Reed Richards is going to instruct Ben Grimm to fly directly into a black hole. That's what all of his calculations on that longboard reveal. He's trying to work out how to go from one part of the multiverse to another. There's probably going to be a lot of important information revealed in his science talk and how this is all working with what they're going to try to do with Galactus. That's going to depend on how they do the future of interdimensional travel. Obviously, we know we're going to be visiting the X-Men timeline per all of the set leaks, and if the Thunderbolts post-credit scene is to be taken at face value. That is the Fantastic Four arriving at the 616. Right now, and as I've said, in the Fantastic Four trailers and what it seems like they know of the multiverse as we begin that film, it doesn't seem like Franklin Richards or anyone else has any idea how to do that and on command. That's certainly not enough for him to go from his timeline directly to the 616. So a lot is going to have to happen in that film for him to get caught up, and that's where we suspect they're going to do a lot of the explaining for very important details for what we're about to see in Avengers Doomsday. Again, they don't need Doctor Doom in order to do this. They just have a lot of Science Bro talk about how the multiverse actually works, how you can travel across it, what's going on now that Loki's at the center of the world tree, and set up anything they need to as far as quote-unquote important details so that when we see Avengers Secret Wars, they can do what they want to do with the story. Now, honestly, I think this is a really interesting way of going about it because the 616 is not in the dark, so to speak, about the multiverse. There have been several central characters that we've followed in the MCU, like Captain Marvel and Nick Fury with what happened with Monica Rambeau, and Sei Wong, who's been training America Chavez at Comertage, who now have details about the multiverse, and if they've convened at all to speak about what it is and how it works, they've probably figured out a lot about the multiverse themselves. Now, whether or not they have the technology or not to travel it, that's a totally different story, but they do have America Chavez. If she's honed her power, she would be able to take them to the X-Men timeline where Monica is right now, and then you'd have the Fantastic Four who technology-wise have figured out how to do it and are looking at the multiverse specifically from their own unique point of view, and again, that alleviates the entire narrative in the movie from having to deal with the pre-existing continuity of whatever's been established in the 616 and details that would be out there from Nick Fury and SWORD in the US government, and of course coming from Wong's side and Comertage, he would have probably already shared that with Captain Marvel because of what they have going with Bruce Banner and Wong with their new Avengers, so to speak, the other Avengers from the Thunderbolts. Now, my final thought here, just being logical about what to expect from Fantastic Four, no, I don't think they're going to spend a majority of the movie focusing on setting up Avengers Doomsday. But do I think what they do put in there to set up Avengers Doomsday will be extremely important? Of course. Remember, they're ironing out the details right now for what was reported to be a not finished script for Avengers Doomsday when they started filming in last month. But we know that the Doomsday story has been in the works for at least 2 years with what they've known for Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom, and so they may have slipped one or two important things they wanted to set up so that in Avengers Doomsday they can rely on that. The same way that they put the Anchor Bean stuff in Avengers... The exact same way they made sure to put the Anchor Bean stuff in Deadpool and Wolverine when they needed to so that they could set up Avengers Doomsday and probably Doctor Doom's plan. But you guys let me know all your thoughts down below as a reaction to any and all of this and what you suspect from the film. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Still giving away PlayStations. The next one is next week for Ironheart. If you want to be entered to win, all you got to do, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. Hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on to keep up with the videos. And of course, if you like today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. Find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. Find me on all other platforms under the name AllFires. And while I would sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.